To the House.
I call the honourable member Mike Sabin.
Oh, well, I'll pick up where the member Sue Moroney left off in acknowledging the New Zealand First member for bringing this bill forward. Members' days are a good opportunity for backbenchers to contribute to the work of Parliament. Some bills have merit, some bills do not. They all get debated if they're fortunate enough to be pulled from the ballot, and I'm actually very pleased to be debating this particular bill. And most will be aware in the House, but I'm sure for the 3 or 4 people that are now watching me at home, Mr. Speaker, or possibly 5, they haven't turned off already. As a former detective, I worked on electronics, undercover operations, sort of surveillance, all the Ninja Turtle stuff at the time when methamphetamine, I was hiding behind trees, large ones obviously, but I was working in the police at the time that methamphetamine went from really a very little known issue to New Zealand having one of the worst problems with that particular drug in the world. The only hard drug that can be made in the kitchen from a readily available retail chemical, sir, and New Zealand was quite captured by that drug, sir, and I was one of the first Clan Lab officers trained, so the clandestine drug laboratories. We were trained to work alongside the ESR scientists, go in and dismantle the labs, gather the evidence and prosecute these things, sir. And during that process, I came to learn of the immense dangers that the production of this drug actually, or manufacture of this drug actually created. And sure, members will talk about other issues other than methamphetamine, but if we look at that particular drug and the implications of that to children, it will give a very good example, I guess, where, sir, this bill may indeed have its place, and that is the significant aggravation that is caused when someone is manufacturing methamphetamine in the proximity of children, and sadly, all too often, that is exactly the case. Sir, and here's a drug that is made from readily available retail chemicals. It can be made in a plastic bag, it can be made in a soft drink bottle, and it is often made in lounges and kitchens and bathrooms of homes all around this country, and has done. There's been thousands of labs, many hundreds of labs that have been dismantled of significant size or scale. But we're talking about chemicals such as hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, solvents of all manner which are highly flammable but toxic in themselves, red phosphorus which will self-ignite without any rhyme or reason, sir. Chemicals, sir, which in combination become incredibly toxic. They're not visible, often can't be detected by the senses, and they will emit during the manufacture process. They absorb into the wall linings, they go through the wall linings and into the stud timber, they go through the floor, down through into the substrate beneath the floor linings. They go up into the range hoods and all throughout the plumbing of the house. And for every kilo of methamphetamine, sir, 9.5 kilos of waste is created, and often that's tipped down drains or tipped out over the back lawn. Sir, and when I looked at a lot of the analysis on the implications of the chemical, the ticking time bombs that meth labs become, what is very apparent is that children in those environments, by simply crawling around, would actually pick up those chemicals. They're typically putting a lot of things in their mouth, and so the trace elements of those volatiles and solvents, acids, drain cleaner and so forth are being ingested by the children. And then, of course, it's producing methamphetamine, which is often smoked in that environment as well. So they're ingesting that smoke, and the residue from the smoke also falls, and they'll ingest that. So not only are they being poisoned, sir, but they're also ingesting the methamphetamine. It is abhorrent when one considers what goes on, admittedly that most people that are manufacturing that circumstance are doing so to feed an addiction. They're addicted to drugs because they can't not take them. Sir, but when children in that environment and the parent can turn a blind eye to it, it's almost something I think is contrary to human nature. It is so abhorrent, and the implications to the children are so severe. So on that basis alone, I think I'm happy to support the bill to Select Committee to be considered. The one note of caution that we may signal is the fact that judges do have, of course, discretionary ability to apply an aggravating feature in terms of its sentence, and that will always have to be weighed off against an arbitrary legal status such as this, sir, but I think it has merit and I commend the member for bringing it forward.
I call the honourable member Dennis O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The government has introduced a number of bills